Good morning. My name is Miluska Auris, and I work with the procurement team from the UKDT. And I'll tell you what we're planning for this new round of procurement activities, including what would be expected of you should you express a need to start in our process. For those of you that not attended any previous roadshows or participated in any of our previous procurement opportunities, we understand that this process may be unfamiliar to you. So we will try to explain each stage as much as detail as possible in terms of what is expected of you and how you can participate. We are going to go into detail on the procurement process that we intend to run and our proposed contracting strategy. This is very important as you will have limited time to submit documents and responses to us. So this is an opportunity for you to gain an early understanding of our requirements. For those of you that have attended previous roadshows, some of these materials may be familiar. However, please ensure to pay attention to understand exactly what we require and how we intend to contract with a successful tenderer for these processes. We will also cover the procurement program in this roadshow, setting out what we will require from you and when. First of all, I think it is really important to establish the general principles behind our procurement process and the way we interact with the market and the supply chain. And these principles are transparency, openness, and fairness. And they require us to run procurements that enable all available companies who are interested in participating to have an equal chance of being successful. They are aimed at maximizing competition and ensure that the end results provide the client with the most economically advantageous offer. It's important to note that the most economically advantageous offer is not necessarily the offer with the lowest price. It is a mixture of technical and commercial scoring, as the lowest price does not always provide the client with the best value offer. Only those companies that can best demonstrate both previous experience and the capacity to undertake the work, combined with their commercial submission, will score well in this process. You will notice that the theme of transparency, openness, and fairness runs through all our processes and is at the core of what we're trying to achieve. Adhering to these themes should provide you with the confidence that your offers will be treated fairly, and that if you can demonstrate that you are the best suited to undertake the works, then you will be scored and marked accordingly. With regard to our contracting strategy, we consider various contracts forms in our decision-making process. And as many of you will probably already be aware, we decided that the best form of contract to use would be the new engineering contract, or NEC. A key aspect of the NEC form of contract is that it offers a flexibility of approach, and it is collaborative in nature. This flexibility and nature of collaboration aligns perfectly with the principles expressed in the previous slide in terms of transparency, openness, and fairness to engage in a collaborative way with our chosen delivery partners. The NEC suite of contracts come with various options that can be utilized, ranging from traditional fixed price arrangements to cost reimbursable design approaches. The NEC options we are using for this procurement are the professional service contract hybrid option E, cost reimbursable, with an intensified budget set by RCC, whereby the consultant will be entitled to sharing of any underspend against this budget for the design contract we're procuring. The option E contract is a cost reimbursable contract in which the consultant is reimbursed the actual cost they incurred in carrying out the services, plus an additional fee. I'll explain more about the packaging for this on the next slide. The technical detail and scope of these packages will be explained to you in more detail later. However, it is important that you understand our packaging and contracting strategy. You will see that we are procuring one package in total. There were various factors that fed into our decision to package the works this way, including geography, size of package, logistical possibilities, and attractiveness to the market, including attractiveness for local and small and medium-sized companies. This package is for the Piura pre-investment profiles based on design only completed to RIBA Stage 3. As I mentioned on the previous slides, the design-only contract will be procured using the NEC Professional Service Contract Hybrid Option E. We intend to issue a mandatory undertaking, MU, and a pre-qualification procurement document for this package. This slide just demonstrates on a visual level the processes and timescales involved with this procurement. The procurement processes we intend to run will be undertaken in three main stages. The mandatory undertaking stage, or MU, a pre-qualification stage, which includes a pre-qualification questionnaire, or PQQ, and invitation to tender, ITT. I will explain in more detail what is required at each of these stages. However, this graphic illustrates how we move from a long list of interested suppliers to one supplier who has won the competition and has been awarded the contract. So, following the presentation today, in addition to those companies that have already registered with us following previous roadway, if you wish to be considered for this opportunity, you must first submit your details on the ARCC website. You will also be asked to provide some simple details in order to confirm that your organization has capacity and ability to undertake the works you are expressing an interest in. This avoids including any companies in our processes that are not suitable to be involved. The number of companies who can register is unlimited. After receiving the long list of companies, your details will be registered on our procurement portal award, and you will then receive an email notification when the MU is ready for download. The intention of the mandatory undertaking is to ensure that only those companies who receive the PQQ have the necessary turnover requirements and are able to sign the mandatory undertaking declaration, which includes, amongst others, anti-bribery, collusion, conflict of interest, and confidentiality statements. We will then review the MU submissions to ensure they have been completed properly and that all requirements have been satisfied. The number of companies eligible to pass through the PQQ stage remains unlimited. The pre-qualification questionnaire, or PQQ, will be then released to all those companies that have passed the MU stage. The intention of the PQQ is to reduce the unlimited long list during the MU stage down to a short list of companies who will be invited to tender. Following the submission of your PQQ and internal evaluation process, you will be notified whether your submissions cascade the necessary score to have made it onto the shortlist. The shortlist is made up of the top scoring number of applicants who submitted a PQQ. So, for example, if we intend to have a shortlist of 7, then the 7 top scoring applicants will be invited to tender. Everyone will receive a notification whether you have made the shortlist or not. The third stage is then the invitation to tender, or ITT. Those companies who have made the shortlist will be issued with an invitation to submit a tender, which will consist of the submission of various documents, a technical response and a commercial response. The tender who attains the highest score will be awarded the contract. Therefore, this process allows us to move from an unlimited long list to a short list to one eventual winner. So, as I mentioned previously, after expressing your interests on our website and subject to your suitability, we will enter your details onto our procurement portal award, and you will receive an email notification sent to the email address you provided on our website with your login details. You will first be asked to confirm the login details and change your password. Once registered and once the MU is available, you will be notified again to the email address provided that the MU is now available for download. If you have already previously registered with us, you may also receive login details. If not, you will just receive a notification once the MU has gone live. The MU stage is the simplest and easiest stage to participate. All you are required to do for these packages of work is to select the packages you are interested in tendering for, confirm your turnover meets the required threshold, and sign and return the documents. No further documentation is needed at this stage. However, please be aware that you will be required at the PQQ stage to submit your financial accounts to demonstrate that what you stated at the MU stage is accurate. If your accounts do not substantiate your turnover declaration made at the MU stage, then this will represent a failure to score at the PQQ stage, and you will be disqualified from the process. One important consideration, and one we receive a lot of questions on, is the formation of consortiums and at what stage these have to be notified to us. We do not require at your time of MU submission to set your proposal consortium. This information is required with your PQQ response. The only rule we apply here is that only those companies that submitted an MU response will become eligible at the PQQ stage to be included in a consortium. So it is vital that all those companies, whether they intend to participate in a consortium or not, who wish to be included in the PQQ stage, submit an MU response. However, if you do wish to submit your MU as consortium, you can do it. However, if we receive one MU response on behalf of the entire consortium signed by all members, which it would be needed to, then that consortium could be changed when you submit your PQQ. We have slightly altered this rule to allow for changes to consortiums by way of making changes to the makeup of the consortium itself by allowing consortium members to drop out and be replaced as long as the new consortium member has passed the MU and all the prerequisite conditions are still maintained by way of meeting certain turnover thresholds. So, if you are unsure of what companies will comprise your consortium during the MU stage, it is better to submit individual MU responses to preserve your options of how you intend to form your consortium. So, moving on to the PQQ stage, all those submissions that have passed the MU stage will receive a PQQ. The PQQ questions are essentially designed to test your capacity and ability to be able to undertake the works you wish to be invited to tender for. They are normally backward-facing, by which I mean they are looking back at your history to understand how you have undertaken similar works in the past and what your current governments and policy and procedure processes are like. As mentioned previously, the question will also require you to confirm your turnover threshold. This question is designed to ensure that only those companies are sufficient. It could be, in this case, 3 years in a row, the 2018, 2019, and 2021. This question is designed to ensure that only those companies of a sufficient size and capacity that are admitted through this stage. We are going to also ask you to present your environmental policy, your quality management policy, or health and safety policies. This is the slide explains the invitation to tender. If you are down selected and make the shortlist at the PQQ stage, you will notify through a word and will then receive the invitation to tender also through the award portal. Whereas with the PQQ stage, the questions were backward facing, and ITT is are designed to test how you will approach the delivery of the project in questions. The other main difference in style between the PQQ and ITT stage is that in the ITT stage, there is also commercial submission, which represents your commercial offer to us. Under the NEC hybrid option E, you will be required to price all-in resource rates and a fee percentage as part of your tender submission. Key questions will be around your proposed program for works, your proposed project execution plans, and how you will manage the process. Typically, and in line with our requirement to award the contract to the tenderer who has submitted the most economically advantageous tender, the scoring will be weighted in favor of the technical section, normally a 70-30 technical commercial split. This ensures that the lowest price does not automatically win the competition, but that the contract is awarded to the tenderer who represents the best value. The commercial score is then added to the technical score to arrive at an overall score of 100%. The highest score in the tenderer then becomes eligible to be awarded the contract, subject to the win-only rule as previously set out. So, what does all look like in terms of procurement program we're working to? Well, registration is already open. So if you haven't registered, I would encourage you to do so after this roadshow. However, if you have already registered for these types of work, please do not re-register as we already have your details. The MU is expected to be launched on Monday next week for one package of work. Registration then closes before the deadline for submission of your mandatory undertakings. This will then be followed by the release of the PQQ and the ITT. You have 2 weeks to complete and return your MEU, 4 weeks to complete and return your PQQ, and 8 weeks to complete and return your ITT submissions. I appreciate that there's been a lot of information presented to you in this process. As I said at the start, we are operating an open and collaborative process. Once the MU gets issues, we will hold in a series of applicant briefings whereby we will be setting out details of your MU, PQQ, and ITT, and some key tips for completing your submission. We will also be holding similar sessions during the PQQ and ITT processes if you progress to that stage. We also have a messaging facility through our procurement portal, Award, which allows you to be subjected to being involved at that stage, to raise questions that come directly to us on any aspect of the process we're running, or with respect to the content of any of the written documentation we have issued to you at MU, PQQ, or ITT stages. In the ITT stage, we also hold confidential interactive sessions, or one-to-one sessions, with each of the shortlisted standard. You will be able to speak to us on a one-to-one basis again on any aspect of the process you are running if you are shortlisted for this stage. You will also be able to raise the scope and contractual queries if you have them. Finally, it's important to know that if you are successful in this process, you will have 2 weeks from the point of being informed that you have been successful to execute the contract. Therefore, you will need to ensure that all the paperwork and contract parties are aligned in order to meet this deadline. Finally, and thank you for your patience. I hope the message has come across clear enough that at each stage of our process, we intend to run an open and transparent process. We want to constantly engage with you to ensure that you are provided with the most up-to-date information. This is through the messaging option in the award portal. You are also given the option of detailed feedback on your submission if you are unsuccessful. This provides you with valuable feedback on areas of improvement with a view to increase your chances of these and future procurements. If you are interested in these opportunities, as I mentioned previously, please register your interest for the first instance on the ARCC website. You will then be issued with the MU documentation, at which point you will be able to raise any questions you may have through the word portal. We will obviously review all questions as they come in and aim to respond to you as quickly as possible. We also want to encourage companies, if you think you don't have sufficient experience, to form consortia with other companies to deliver our projects. For this reason, a matchmaking portal is available on the RCT website to encourage communities to come together where they can complement each other's skills set with a view of joining forces and forming a consortium. This detail will be included in the MU documentation. If you have any issues with a word, we will upload user guides in both Spanish and English, so please read through those in the first instance. If your problem persists, then either raise a clarification through a word, or if you're having trouble logging into a word, contact details are set out on the login page. Next, you will see the links of interest that will be available for you. I hope that all this has been helpful and will assist you submitting high-quality proposals. Thank you very much for your attention, and please remember that we're here to help you at each stage of the process. Good luck with your submission.